Testing, testing. Nice. On the dot. Good to go?
I'm leaving with these.
We'll call the meeting to order. First order of business, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Consideration of the June meeting minutes. I'm sorry, July 11th meeting minutes.
Make a motion that the minutes of the July 11th meeting are accepted as written.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Activity reports. Captain?
All right. So I'll start with the incidents, cases year to date. We had 43 incidents in the month of July. That's down from 64 in June, so that's a decrease of 32.81%. But we had 57 offenses with those incidents, and you can see all the backup documents that's with it. So the arrest for the month of July is up. June it was 18, July it's 25, which is an increase of 38.89%. And then you can see all the backup document by officer on the arrest for the month of July. The traffic stops, there was an increase of 62.69% for the month of July to 109 from June of 67. There were 11 tickets given out, so it's a 10.10% chance of getting a ticket with the amount of stops that were given. And you can see where all the, what the stops were and which ones were cited and given a citation. And the total amount for that month came out to $2,157.60. And that goes all to the state. And our next thing will be the collisions. For the month of July, this is a good stat. It actually went down, still up, 15, but down from 24 for the month of June, which is a decrease of 37.5%. So that's pretty good. And then you can see the streets and the data that comes in next, which is usually our South Main and Center Street are our major ones. We had 4 on Center Street and 3 on South Main. And the other ones were Governor Wentworth, Haynes Hill, Railroad Ave. Those are probably backups from parking spots. Wickers Drive and Wolfeboro Oil Drive. That's a new one. Then we get the personal analysis report. So I broke that down for the month of July 1st. As you'll see, we had 43 incidents, everything 25. The parking tickets for the month of July was 75. So that's a good amount of parking tickets given out. And compare that to last year, which I do have there. I thought I had it for the month of July. Yep. From last year, we had 33 incidents. But this year, we have 43, so we did have an increase. And for the whole year of this year, we have 348, which is compared to last year at 367. So we're catching up, kind of evening it out. And that's all broken down by the officers that you'll see in there. And you got to remember, some are on midnights, some are on days, so each month they do change. They rotate every 4 weeks. Then you'll see Prosecutor Morgan's stats that he had last month. So he had 10 cases that went to court, and you can see them all. Most of them are related to vehicles, DUIs, speeds, uninspections, operating without a license. That's the majority of what's going out there, reckless op. So we did get our gas for the month of July, so the price stayed the same, even, at $3.03. Total cost for the month of July was $1,648.20. So that's up from June from $1,497. So far, we're a total of $10,227.19, which is at 42.8%, and we should be at 56% when I did the, 59% when I did the budget. So we're sitting pretty good with the fuel for this year. Basically, we used for the month of July 543 gallons, and it was 493 last month. So average is going pretty well. And then I did a budget yesterday. So when I put that out, so our total, we're underspent by 7.52%. So we're doing very well. And most of that's due to the fact of salaries.
Great.
But
Great, thank you.
that's all I got.
Great. Chief? Okay, how do I add to that? There's only a few things that I really thought was germane to mention tonight. One of which is that we have 2 in the academy currently. Officer O'Neill did follow his colleague in, and I don't want to jinx anything, but we seem to be doing pretty well.
Yep.
The captain informs me that we have 4 coming in for a PT test on the 22nd of August. So that's good numbers. I mean, especially when you start comparing it across the board to other agencies and finding out. A major piece of the application process, or that beginning conversation that the captain, typically as the captain, has with prospective applicants, is the benefits. It's not as much of a conversation about an hourly rate or wage. It's more of a conversation about the benefits. How are the benefits compared to this department or that department? So just something for us to keep in mind. We received notice that Winnipesaukee Day has been moved to Sunday, in case you all hadn't heard that yet. You have in front of you a folder of some policies, about 8 of them? 6 of them. Those are what we have up to now, to add to the ones you've already signed. It's my intention to stay with you until you hand them back to me, and then we know right where they are, because Sherry knows right where I am, so we now know where everything is. What the plan is for this, and I've discussed this with Investigator Shigori a few times, as to what works best for the commission. The commission needs to be able to review all policies at any time. You signed them. You need to get a hold of them and look at them. However, there's only going to be one hard copy of that signed policy per accreditation standard, and that will be found in my office. And I'm not going to suggest that if you want to read something, come on over and we'll read together. We will give you the credentials to get into the Power DMS format, so you can view things. I don't know how much you'll be able to actually manipulate on the screen, but you'll at least be able to get into it. So if you want to make a copy, then you can do whatever you want with it once you have it on the screen. But you can get into any of the policies you want, or to review one, or if we're having a conversation on the phone and we're talking about a specific policy, you can pull up yours at the same time and we can talk about it. But if the commission has any other concerns or wants more access to that type of document, let me know, and I'm sure the magician can make it happen. So he's been a godsend to us as far as the Power DMS goes.
Yeah.
Another thing that crossed my mind as I was listening to the captain is we talk about amounts of things. We talk about this many car collisions and this many investigations and this many arrests, but we're not talking about actual time spent on task. And that's something I hope to remedy by our next meeting. I plan to give you officer hours spent. You all have background in this field, so you know that I could do 100 calls for service and take less time than 10 calls for service in another agency, because there are different types of calls for service. And where you have one case, and this is probably more for edification for anybody listening, But if you have one case or that one number or that one stat could actually equate to 60 hours of work. So I think it's kind of like looking at the mileage of a police cruiser and determining its age. You can't. It's the best we can do right now because they don't measure hours on a police cruiser like they do on a boat. So what I'd like to do is try to give you that number so you have a better understanding of what your police department's doing and how much time is being spent on task. I am hopeful to bring forward something, and I don't want to do it by policy. I want to do it by, hey, that's a good idea. I want to do that kind of a thing. And it harkens back to state police. State police used to have a policy or a procedure, and maybe you can clarify this, was as a contact an hour. If you remember that, and it might be even before, it was a long time ago, where all uniformed personnel had to make one citizen contact per hour. If it's a motor vehicle stop, it's a contact. If it's a stop and talk about, their display at their store or shoplifting concerns or parking issues at another location, that's contact, and that counts. And I'm hoping that the officers do that. There's certainly no problem with that right now in this time of the year, but as we move into the colder season, it's easy for people to hibernate. And I don't want contacts to be all negative. We've had conversations in the past where, in conversation with some police officers that have retired, they said to me, it's really nice to talk to people, and it's not always a bad thing that I have to talk to them. I want it to be a positive thing, and I think this might help get us in that place where officers, we have them down there an hour a shift walking. I've not heard one single complaint from either officers or citizens. Everybody's thrilled with it. So let's keep moving in that vein and try to get more citizen contacts and hopefully get at least an hour and see what we can get out of that. Other than that, I'm not sure where we are with the crosswalk situation from last meeting.
Yeah,
So I wanted to check in with you.
There was a plan to bring the selectmen in on that through the selectmen's representative to the police commission tonight. With that being said, I did see Paul O'Brien yesterday, who is that representative. He could not make it tonight due to a family commitment. So if it makes sense, everyone, we could revisit it at the next meeting. And it's my hope, obviously, he takes our concerns, our conversations to the selectmen and start that conversation there. And the two boards in concert, you folks could maybe come to a conclusion on that.
Good.
Yep.
But especially once school starts kicking back up, it's just going to make matters so much worse, so.
For sure.
Chief, can you just give us a brief update on the progress of the PD?
On the who?
Progress of
on
the PD?
building?
Yeah, the building.
We're in phase 2. We're hoping to be done with phase 2 February, right?
February.
And to begin phase 3. The lower level of phase 2, that section between both where the fire trucks are and where we are still located, the bottom floor has been poured. The elevator shaft has been put in. No elevator yet that I can see inside. And the second floor has been prepped to be poured as well, which, because of this pending visit from Debbie, everything got pushed a week. So it should have been poured already, but it's going to be poured next week now after the remnants of the storm get through. Once that happens, then you're going to start seeing the roof structure start.
And obviously, Phase 3 is the original building that we see as
The
we
gutting
pass.
out
Yeah,
of where we
yeah,
are
gotcha.
now.
Okay.
And the
Got
finishing.
it. Thank you.
That's how you understand it.
Yeah, so then we have to really work on how we're going to have the public come in and meet with us. So
Right.
We're still working on that, and we'll get that out to everybody before that phase 3 comes in.
Captain, has there ever been a request or consideration for, in the cruiser spec, I'm just thinking about, Chief mentioned cruiser use, mileage and so forth, and we all know a lot of the use of the cruiser is not, while it's mobile, it's actually idling, whether it be an accident scene, fire scene, medical emergency, simply observing running radar or whatever. Hour meter in the vehicle?
There
Or
is
engine
an
hours?
Yeah, so they do have the, I mean, you have the normal odometer readers, but you do have, I believe it's hours, or it's idle hours that you can read on those
Okay.
that come out there. So you can see how long they've been idling, sitting.
Because I know when we, with the fleet asset sheet, it always lists mileage, the year,
Yeah.
and all that. And I think engine hours is.
On the newer vehicles that we
Okay.
do have, not all the vehicles that
Yep.
we have.
Thank you.
I believe that's all I have.
Great, thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Commissioners' items, the next meeting date will be Thursday, September 12th, 6 o'clock here at the Great Hall.
I won't be here. I'll be in Montana.
Board of Selectmen not here. Budget rep.
That's why I can hear you.
Does that work?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Ah, I can hear myself now. But from the Budget Committee, there's nothing new to report. We're in the process of starting our work, and it'll depend on, I guess, the township to figure out what the percentage increases might be one way or the other. But I did want to compliment the group on having the parking spot for the PD cruiser. I've seen several times, actually, where an officer is surrounded by a group. Kind of looks like a rock star, actually. But that seems to be working out well. So I would encourage to keep that up.
Having it right across the street from Bailey's probably helps.
I'm sure.
I thought you were going to mention, Tom, the fact that they're under budget in a default budget year.
Well, that goes without saying, the position with the gasoline, and I haven't seen this month yet, but every indications are that things are working out well, so keep it up.
Great, thank you. Anything else? David?
I have a short non-public.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we go back into non-public session under RSA 91 -A:3 under personnel matters.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Take a short recess while we can clear the room. Oh, sorry, Bernie. The most important person in the room.
All right, oh my gosh.
Bernie, tonight you should have had something, just,
This would have been the time.
Yeah.
he got it all out of his system downstairs.
Bernie, you know what we're going to do in September's meeting? We're going to ask twice.
Yeah.
He'd be hopping off his chair, you would have known.
See you. Did you sign those?